itself. Well, astronomers have been tracking that comet, and their basic attitude is, what's all the fuss about? It's no doomsday comet. It's basically a dud.
And our newest show, Honesty Without Fear, the Whistleblower Radio Hour with Steve Cohn and Jane Turner.
This is 1 hour of progressive radio set aside for whistleblowers, where the public can learn about the contributions and what whistleblowers are saying about the major issues facing our country today, where whistleblowers can learn about their rights, where the public can learn how to take action to stop the retaliation.
Listen live or anytime on the archives at prn.fm. The Progressive Radio Network is moving forward, and we hope you're coming with us.
Do you want to know the latest news or upcoming events? Follow us at Twitter at PRN_radio or click the Twitter icon on our homepage. You can also friend us on Facebook. Just search Progressive Radio Network. Always new and up to date. The Progressive Radio Network, your home for thoughtful and informative information.
Hello and welcome back to A Better World with your host, Mitchell J. Rabin. I'm very glad you're joining us again today. Oh, today is going to be a record-breaking show, and I'm very glad you're all listening because you're going to hear a story and a development of some ideas based on science that, well, they're going to blow you away. So if you are listening, you really want to stay tuned, because in a sense what we're going to be presenting today is information that is really world impact, world changing, game changing. Really that simple. And much of what we've been concerned about relative to the environment, relative to health, relative to environmental destruction and the like, including our food sources, has an actual fairly simple solution. And we are interviewing today a gentleman who has probably the biggest solution that I've known about, and that's going to be the focus of today's show. And I'm speaking about Mr. Mahendra Trivedi, who is the founder of the Trivedi Foundation, and if you haven't gone to that website, certainly you should. As you know, on this show, we like to present information and people who are doing what they can to create a better world. That's the name of the show. That's our game here. And every so often we come across someone who is doing something really big. And that's what we have today. And we're very glad to have with us Mr. Trivedi in studio to talk about some of the work he's been doing and some of the science that actually corroborates the work that he's been doing on living systems, biological fields, and the human body itself in terms of mind, emotion, and physically. And it's interesting because he had started in India many, many moons ago, actually as a mechanical engineer. And he went from that into, at some point, becoming what was known as a spiritual guru, wearing robes and serving his various communities all over India and beyond in that capacity. But how many gurus do you know who drop the robes and decide to embrace instead the wisdom and intelligence of science to be able to prove the powers that he has? That's what we're dealing with today on today's show, and that's what we'll be explaining and describing as the show goes on. We've dedicated the entire show to the exploration of this subject with Mr. Trivedi. Now, additionally, I'd like to introduce from the beginning a colleague of Mr. Trivedi's named Deborah Poneman. She works on his board and has been a very close student and a colleague of Mr. Trivedi's. She, in her own right, is really very well known. She's done a lot of work in the seminar business. Yes to Success. She's written several books on vegetarianism for children and the like. She's a completely delightful woman, and she's been doing a lot of work with Mr. Trivedi over the past year or so. And she'll be joining us today because she is familiar with his work in a way that I'm just beginning to. So she'll be chiming in here and there. And at the beginning, Deborah, are you there?
I am here.
Wonderful. Welcome to A Better World.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So glad. So tell me just briefly, if you would, how did you meet Mr. Trivedi? What were the circumstances? And what is it that you're doing with him now?
Well, I was actually introduced to Mr. Trivedi by my dear friends Chris and Janet Atwood, who you probably know are the New York Times bestselling authors of The Passion Test. And I know Chris and Janet because the three of us have been meditation teachers for the past, dare I say, 40 years. And I know we're
dare
very old.
You say. All the way back in Skokie.
Yes, very much so, back in Skokie where we were best friends, you and I. Yes. But so we taught meditation for many, many years, and we also were very happy and settled in our own spiritual practices. And Chris and Janet were kind of reticent to meet somebody who was known to be a spiritual teacher from India because they had their own spiritual teacher, and also I did too.
That's so unspiritual, though.
It was so unspiritual that we were not willing to meet another spiritual teacher.
Yes.
Well, that was why. Well, you know why we relented. I'll tell you what it was. We felt like, because for the last 40 years, not only had I been teaching meditation, but I spent a lot of time in India with some of the greatest masters, and so had they. And we really felt, I have to admit, that I was having a little bit of a bout of spiritual superiority. Like, oh, I've seen it all. What can anybody else teach me?
Indeed.
Gotta admit it.
Yep.
And then Chris said to me, well, you know what, Deborah, this gentleman is different. What he has done has been verified in the halls of science. And he said to my husband and myself, if we were willing to look at the scientific research, he thought that our minds would be pretty blown by it. So I relented and said, okay, yes, I will look at the research and I will be willing to meet this gentleman.
Yes.
And I was very honored to meet him. And when I saw that what he is doing is not just hearsay, is not just, reports of people's subjective experience, but it has been verified by science. And I saw the extreme results that people were experiencing more than any other, quote-unquote, healer, because what he does is so much greater than what a healer does. It's not just getting rid of ringing in your ear or, pain in your neck. Overall transformation. People who had never experienced happiness before were reporting that their lives were now happy. I knew that I had to devote the majority of my time to helping Mr. Trivedi spread his message, and it's actually been almost 3 years, not just 1 year.
Oh, wow. That's quite a story. I mean, happiness is something people really discuss but rarely live. So this is quite a strong recommendation.
Yes, and I'll tell you the other thing that was kind of mind-blowing to me, and I will mention some of the scientific research, but...
I just don't want him to blush over here, that's all.
Yes. Well, he has a beautiful smile.
Yes,
so.
he does.
Well, and the other thing that was mind-blowing to me is that even though I had seen so many, again, healers who had gotten rid of people's, maybe, their arthritis in their knee or their tennis elbow, I had never seen anybody give an energy transmission, and the next thing they knew that they were totally in tune with their highest good. They found that they had been struggling to find their life's purpose, and after 1 or 2 or 3 energy transmissions questions from Mr. Trivedi, they were not only aligned with their life's purpose, not only aligned with their inner GPS, but effortlessly beginning to live it. And those kinds of things I had never seen before.
Yes. Very powerful. Very powerful. Well, I'm very glad to have you reporting in, Deborah, with your much more extensive experience on all levels. And I'm glad you got over your spiritual superiority and you tuned in to Mr. Trivedi so it could come full circle onto a better world, and we can have the pleasure of having him on the show to share with our audience. So thanks so much. Why don't you kind of stay on the line as we move into the show? And when you need to like to chime something in, please do.
Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely. I very much appreciate it. Mr. Trivedi, it's been so interesting to spend this day with you and to learn increasingly of the science that's behind so much of your work. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what your goals are in Trivedi Wellness and the Trivedi Foundation?
Our goal for the humanity to bring a new science on this planet, because I will talk about means the growth of the science. Like after Galileo's death, that was the most wonderful day, I would like to say, the time, like at least his death was able to inspire the world leaders that science should be separated from religion.
Yes, church and state.
Yes, and
science.
And that's why the science was separated, and science started doing progress. So after his death, the science was separated, science started doing progress. Then other scientists, top scientists like Newton and his colleagues, they came on this planet and they tried to understand the behavior and character of the universe, and they did the expansion of the science. But at some point, again that science started hitting the last wall. So finally Einstein and his colleagues, right, for the next level science, they came on this planet, and again the science started expanding, growing. And now I would like to, since last at least 10 or 20 years, again the current science, the existing science, has started hitting the last wall. Now again it needs the next level science. We are 7 billion people on this planet. With the current science, we do not have the ability to produce the organic food, means the food without the use of chemicals, even for 500 million people. Every year, I would like to say millions and millions of people, they are dying in the absence of antibiotics. The bacteria, they are getting more and more resistance, and we do not have the medicine to kill those bacteria within the human body, right? So again, science has started hitting the last wall, and in several areas, we do not have our healthcare system. We do not have something which is called preventive maintenance. You are working, and one day you feel that yes, your body has low energy, and then no energy, then lots of nonsense. You go to doctor, and suddenly the medical science, they come up with the idea you have cancer, or you have chronic fatigue, or you have some multiple sclerosis or Parkinson's. See, life is full of uncertainty. Life is full of fear. This type of life, and that's why the neurological disorders use everybody, most of the people, they are living in fear. The females, especially in US and Canada, right, they are living, I would like to say more than 90% females in these countries. After age 30, they have the fear of breast cancer. They touch their breast, and due to some reason, if there is some kind of hardness anywhere, and they start feeling that I have got the breast cancer, and they don't want to go to doctor, they don't consult. So this type of life we need to develop. It's a breakdown maintenance. You are driving a car and something happens, you are nowhere in the middle of the night, middle of the road, right? So that was old technology. 60, 70 years back, we were using that breakdown maintenance technology. In the industries nowadays, we have the preventive maintenance. So if we can get the technology for the machines, why not for the humans?
Exactly.
Human must have also
Yeah.
the preventive maintenance technology, that every year you do the preventive maintenance. And I think this new age type of thing, and the trans with the help of healers and the complementary medicine, transformational leaders, they are attempting something, but the success rate is not very significant. You eat organic food, you wake up early in the morning, do some exercise, all these things. It seems very good. But again, we do not have something to prevent the diseases like superbugs, infection, cancer, other things.
Well, what you're saying in some way, Mr. Trivedi, is that based on the practices of current allopathic medicine, we have actually, ironically, strengthened all those bacteria and viruses we're seeking to overcome. They have built resistances to our vaccinations and to all of our uses of medicine to combat them. They've gotten stronger, because that is not truly a way to overcome the problem. And what I hear you suggesting is, for a real healthcare system, we need to have another intervention, so to speak, that is, I think you're also implying, on the other side of the science we currently have. It's like even perhaps beyond our understanding of quantum physics.
Yeah.
Would that be a fair thing to say?
Yeah, 100%. Because
Talk about that a little bit, if you would.
the quantum physics right now, they have the hypothesis. It's in the process of hypothesis.
Right.
Like if you think about somebody, it's an exchange of energy. You can impact that object by thinking.
The butterfly effect.
Yeah, and what I'm doing, whatever they have the hypothesis, I'm showing within the arena of science into the laboratories with very hardcore science. I'm proving that hypothesis of quantum physics.
Okay, so what are you doing in the laboratory, or when you give these transmissions to people? People come from far and wide to receive a transmission from you. What is it that you're doing? What is it they're experiencing?
First of all, for the humans, if you do anything for the humans, it comes under the category of placebo effect. So if humans, they are giving
I love the placebo effect.
any amount of testimony, it has no impact, no value under the umbrella of hardcore science. Until scientists, they are not interested, they are not inspired to work for whatever your model will be just limited up to few thousand people, right? Few 100,000 people, and after your death, everything will disappear, right? So my idea here, like first of all, whatever the model is working for humans, if that model has some potential, that energy has some potential, that energy must have the ability to impact plants and trees, animals, bacteria, viruses, fungi, the human cells, cancer cells in the laboratory outside the human's body, and at the same time the non-living materials like metals, ceramics, polymers, chemicals, everything. And that inspired me, like whatever I'm doing, whether this energy is real, or this energy has some real impact. If it is real impact, then what are the limitations of this energy, right? And what is the use? First of all, you have to see the authenticity that this is real.
Let's stop for a moment, because I want the audience to really understand, because we're starting at square one with most of them who do not know of your work. So when I asked you about what happens, what are you doing to facilitate a change, they don't know necessarily that you are using energy, universal energy, in fact,
Right.
divine intelligence, in fact, to facilitate a certain outcome. But that's what you're doing. So when somebody comes to you for a transmission, what is it that happens and what kind of results have you seen inside them? Or have they reported to you?
I think the humans, they have several problems, hundreds and hundreds of problems related to their physical diseases, like physical disorders, mental disorders,
Surely.
emotional trauma, psychological disorders, sexual disorders, that kind of thing.
Sure.
But why all these? What is the basic cause, the root cause? The root cause, everybody, they are searching the life purpose on this planet.
Life purpose.
Yeah, life purpose. That is the only search for the people. And till you are not playing the role which is called life purpose, your role on this planet, you cannot enjoy the beauty of this planet. You cannot enjoy the happiness in your life.
So are you saying that deviation from fulfillment of one's life purpose
Right.
is the root cause of the various emotional, psychological, mental, and physical illnesses that people experience?
Yes, 100%.
I think that that's largely true. And your intervention then into that is what?
Just we with the help of this energy, we connect the people, their internal guidance system. We use the term internal GPS, right? Their spirit, their soul to their brain, and finally the people, they are connected to the source, the creator, the universe, universal intelligence, the God of their understanding. And once they are connected, then they don't need me, right? Then because this internal guidance system has complete information about their life from birth to death, what job I have to do, what job I have not to do, what business I have to choose, who is my soulmate. You are not busy in trial and error, and the partners, they are coming in your life 1, 2, 3, 4, 20, 30, and still you are empty, right? Single, and lots of emotional trauma and drama and nonsense failures in the life, right?
I see. Okay. And what you've seen is the reports that you've gotten back, the feedback that you've received, is that one person after another. I mean, I heard some stories of, some children who were autistic came to you for a transmission, and they started to experience themselves differently and overcame what is known as autism.
Yeah,
as one example.
Yeah, definitely.
What are a few more examples of things that you say are particularly pleased by?
It's a part of complete transformation. Like people, they are not getting the satisfaction in their relationship, and after lots of frustration, going for trial and error, 1, 2, 3, 10, 20, 30, they decide, okay, I will be happy being single, right? So when they enjoy this energy, when they are connected from the creator, from the universal intelligence, the partner of their destiny, they come in their life, right? And they join them, and once they are highly happy in their relationship, then they have more ability to focus into the work. Their intelligence is high, their ADD, ADHD is very low, and their delivery is very high, they are more satisfied, and they are successful. And success gives you happiness, very straightforward.
I get it. But when people have come to you, Mr. Trivedi, with specific physical issues, we've discussed the root cause. Those issues have been alleviated. Is that correct?
Alleviated means?
Healed. Resolved.
Yeah, actually what we are doing with the help of this energy, we are connecting the people with their internal guidance system.
I understand.
The moment they are connected, your spirit has the ability of self-healing.
Okay.
Your spirit has the ability to give you the fulfillment in your life. Then you don't need me.
Yes.
We don't suggest them any ritual or dogma to start or to stop if they are doing something. whatever you want to do, you just do. We don't
You're
teach
making
them.
yourself obsolete, if you will, after you deliver the goods.
Yeah, we don't teach them any belief system, right? But we give the strength to their belief system.
And Mitchell, do you mind if I jump in here for a second?
Yeah, please.
No, go right ahead.
Yes, and because I've been with Mr. Trivedi since he came to the U.S., I just want to say that I have seen this miraculous energy have an effect on everything from addictions to people who are just gripped by fear of the future to people who had low self-esteem. I've seen people gain peace of mind. I've had seen people who had 10, 12 years of sexual dysfunction and it turned around, needless to say, physical conditions, pain. But I've also seen that this energy does not just help the individual in terms of their physicality, but I've seen people's finances even turn around. I know that sounds, well, how can that happen? But and also their careers turn around. But I think one of the things that is most phenomenal, which has actually also been proven by science, is something that we call the ripple effect, that when an individual receives an energy transmission, not only does their life transform, but often even people in their environment, their children, their partners, their parents, begin to experience shifts in their lives. And when the experiments were done on agriculture, when Mr. Trivedi transferred this energy to seeds, infused this energy in seeds, and the seeds were planted, not only were the crops more prolific, not only were they had greater nutrition, not only were they fresh much longer than the control crops, but the soil that the seeds were planted in, when that was analyzed, even though the energy was not infused into the soil directly, the soil in the area where the seeds were planted was found to be devoid of heavy metals and higher in the beneficial bacteria used for nitrogen fixing. And I bring that out because in humans, too, there's also the ripple effect. So what happens is that Mr. Trivedi is just a conduit. He brings in that universal energy. He brings in that light. And not only do people's lives change in miraculous ways, but there's even the ripple effect.
Indeed. What you're really referring to, Deborah, is that he is always affecting a field. And we were talking about this in TV interviews earlier, and all of you will want to tune in when we're airing that. And if you're not on our newsletter yet, do get on, because it announces both who will be a guest on the radio and TV shows at www.abetterworld.net. We were talking about affecting one aspect of an ecosystem affects the entire system. So it goes with a human body and it goes with an ecological body, no matter what, because we're all actually, it's one big system, you know. But yes, your point is well made, and I appreciate that. In fact, you seeded what will become the next part of our discussion here, which is going into the agricultural part of the work and the science. So thank you very much for that. You anticipated the next step. This is Mitchell J. Rabin for A Better World on Progressive Radio Network. We are spending the hour with Mr. Trivedi and speaking about some very fabulous work that he has been doing that has been proven by a series of different laboratories in India and the United States, including Penn State. Is it Penn State or University of Pennsylvania?
It's not Penn State, but it's it's in California Pacific Medical Research Center, San Francisco.
Oh, okay, very good. That's where you're doing the current research in your effect on agriculture and other biological systems.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about what's going on. I mean, this is just phenomenal. You send your intention through your being a conduit to universal intelligence, and before you know it, the mangoes are growing double the size and are tastier and more highly nutritious, as Deborah said, the soil becoming more nutrition and nitrogen rich. An entire system is being affected simply by your sitting by the mango tree. Tell us.
Yeah.
Every farmer will want to hire you after this show.
Yeah, so so to avoid the blame of placebo effect, we entered in the arena of agriculture science. We did lots of experiments on nuts, fruits, vegetables, and grains. And it's not something we are trying to impact some small tree or plant in house. We do all these experiments in big farms, more than 100-acre land, and the farmers, they plant 9,000 cashew saplings, right?
Yes.
So we are producing that kind of means a very useful science, right? And similarly we did for mango. So in India, the final conclusion that the farmers and the agriculture universities, they were able to produce 500% more production of the grains, right, without use of any chemicals.
Rice or all grains?
Several grains, and in India, all rice, wheat, corn, mustard, kind of canola, right?
Mm-hmm.
So chickpea. So we did for several crops. Finally, in 2009, I came to America, and in 2010, we are very busy with the Agriculture Institute in this country. I don't want to use the name of that institute. It's a very reputed 50 years old institute, and you have to wait a little more to get all the research done. Mm-hmm. But for now, we have got the reports from the institute, the project report, that the letters in the farm trial, just through my energy transmission on seeds for 3 minutes, the institute got 78% more production in lettuce, 96 more production on blueberry.
96%.
Yeah. And we have the data in the Wisconsin, right? And the scientists, they reported from Wisconsin, like just due to the gradation, like the high grade after my energy transmission in the field on the crop, the scientists, they got a high grade ginseng, and just based on that grade, it's a 28% more money for the farmers. And we are waiting for other results like strawberry, honeydew, broccoli, and some other crops. And plus, last year we did one experiment with some medical research institute in this country in California. And we got the data, like scientists, they gave us the cancerous cells and healthy cells together, and I did the energy transmission, and after 3 months they issued the report. They did that, they repeated that experiment several times, and they found that energy was able to kill the cancerous cells, and energy at the same time gave more life, boosted the life to the healthy cells. So scientists in their summary report, they wrote that it's a kind of holy grail, means the energy with intelligence.
Is that a scientific term?
Yeah. And just last month we finished our first very authentic project with one of the institute in this country, and in that I did the energy transmission several times, because scientists, they invite you every month, and we finished that project after 9 months. Mm-hmm. And there they gave us the cancerous cells related to brain cancer, breast cancer, and prostate cancer cells, right? And energy was able to kill all the cells. And so finally the scientists, they have given us the whole project report. And in the covering letter they are writing that this type of results never ever recorded in the history of science through biofield treatment. The essence of the whole project, 9 months of exercise, that the cancerous cells, they do not have the ability to grow in the presence of this energy. So this energy might be in future. We are doing lots of experiments with very renowned universities in this country, And for cancer, like we are doing the research, now we are going for the mice model. So we are doing the research on breast cancer cells, brain cancer cells, influenza.
And where are you doing this research? Can you tell us where you're doing this?
Not now.
Okay.
It's a confidentiality agreement, but very reputed scientists and very reputed.
Are they university scientists?
Yeah, universities. Yeah, very reputed universities in United States of America, this country, by the scientists of this country, on the land of this country, right?
I don't think it's being funded by pharmaceutical companies.
No. Our own foundation, the money is coming from very, very poor people to our organization. And with honesty, right, we are using each dollar. I founded this foundation. I did not take even 1 penny within 3 years of my journey in this country from the foundation. I'm working 18 to 20 hours, right, to bring the new science for the humanity, right? Now we need the science of next level, right? So we are working for diabetes, we are working for the irritable bowel syndrome, and now very soon I'm starting the project with American Defense, right, for PTSD. For
with the Department of Defense?
Yeah. Wow. So we are starting the project.
And what do you anticipate the effect you'll have on these soldiers?
I think there's no cure, maybe very less significant impact with the current medical system on the soldiers. And I'm not doing first time this job. I have treated at least hundreds of people in the past within my last 15 years of journey. I'm very sure like all these soldiers, they will enjoy the happiness. They will get their natural blueprint, because this we have shown in the arena of agriculture science. All of you, all listeners, if you talk to your grandparents or just pay attention on the agriculture 100 years back, there was no chemical fertilizer, no pesticide, no fungicide. Our ancestors, they were enjoying 100% organic food. What happens to the plants and trees? God knows what happened. But definitely the plants and trees, all crops, fruits, nuts, vegetables, grains, they deteriorated and they have lost the ability to fight with the bacteria and viruses and fungi. What this energy is doing, this energy is giving all plants their natural blueprint 100 years back. So if this energy can give the natural blueprint to plants and trees, why not to humans?
Of course, all the way around. In short, what has happened to the trees and the plants, Mr. Trivedi, is they've gotten poisoned. They've gotten poisoned by the chemical industry. And to restore their real natural nutrition and integrity needs a form of intervention that most people don't know about.
Yeah, definitely. So right now I'm keeping busy lots of scientists in all areas of science. And
I want to say that one of the things that I've got to say is remarkable. There are, many people with lots of powers in different parts of the world, but very few are actually willing to subject themselves to scientific scrutiny. And that's what I think makes you distinct and outstanding in this domain. And you are testing, you're allowing yourself, you're inviting and even paying for the testing to take place in all of these different domains, from human body and human health, and setting up eventually a preventative health maintenance program, so we're not living in fear of what's going to happen next, like the example you gave of a woman coming into her 30s and wondering if she's going to have breast cancer or what. And you're working with biological systems. You said something this afternoon that I'd like to bring up. I thought was utterly fascinating when one of your colleagues mentioned the ozone hole. And you said something very interesting. Would you share that with our audience?
Yeah, it's assumption. It is absolutely in the stage of the assumption. Like you can give the natural blueprint with the help of this energy to anything, to everything. So there was no hole in the ozone layer, right, on our planet Earth. It's kind of a safety wall, right, to protect all of us from the harmful cosmic rays coming from the universe for human health, right?
Yes.
So definitely there is some energy, and due to that energy, the hole is there, and just see 50-70 years there was no hole. So with the help of this energy, what I am doing, yes, I am assuming that yes, that ozone hole that can be again filled up, covered up, right?
So in a sense, you are seeking to restore and do restore the, as you said before, the original blueprint of a given phenomenon, whether, no matter what it is, organic or inorganic.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course, as I said at the beginning of the show, Mr. Trivedi, this is has ramifications and repercussions far beyond even our imagination would take us, but let's try to use that imagination. And that would suggest that issues as potentially serious as climate change, as solar flare activity, such as even nuclear waste and nuclear explosions, such as the radiation effects of Fukushima, or what might even happen right here in the United States, are you suggesting, neutralizable?
I have no idea for that, and because I'm very skeptical about everything, right? And till I don't do any experiment, right, and till the abilities of this energy is not until the impact of this energy is not validated within the arena of science, right, till I don't want to claim anything on this planet.
Very good. But the potential is that if you continue to verify everything that you're doing, then it will come to a point where you may find you can affect weather patterns, for instance. Is that possible?
Can you repeat your question? Because
Yes. Based on the science that's being conducted right now on your effect on agriculture, on the human body, cancer cells, etc., is it reasonable to think that part of your future research will be what effect you can have, for instance, on radioactivity?
I think we have done the experiment in the material science, and those experiments, they are very inspiring. So the top material scientists, they can understand that this energy has the ability to change the mass and size of the atom, to change the structure of the atom. So like uranium-239, right, radioactive. So you have to convert uranium-239 into either 240 or 238. So this type of, it's very difficult to say that directly we have achieved those results, but definitely with the help of energy, this energy, we have changed dramatically the character and behavior of hundreds of materials. Right?
Yes, okay.
So it can be, this energy can be a very big hope in all areas of human's life. But I think radioactivity and all these things, they are not so big problems for me. The biggest problem, like at least 98% people in the morning when they wake up, you see their everyday problem. Their sleep is not good, they have anxiety, depression, fear from the future, confusion, lack of confidence. They don't know, lack of motivation, what to do, what not to do. So I'm paying more attention on every day's human's life. Okay, they are searching for a soulmate, they are searching for some small jobs, they have lots of potential, they have lost the confidence. they have emotional trauma. So I think these are the primary basic things, right? If we can cover or we can help the humans in their everyday life, then I would like to go for radioactivity and ozone layer and all these things. Definitely it's a kind of PhD, but for PhD we need high school, right?
Yes.
So we have to take a child in the kindergarten and high school, then PhD is very good.
So yes, I understand. You want to start with the human kingdom and build from the ground up, no pun intended.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. No, I understand, and I think that's very sensible. And at the same time, when one contemplates the potential role of this kind of natural intelligence and what it can do, what it has already done in the creation of the planet and the universe right now in the first place.
Yeah.
So it can then restore. And when you look at the multitude of problems we are facing and challenges on this planet, one starts to get very excited at the potential of how we can turn this around using what we really know is our innate human potential.
Right.
On that note, you are also training others to facilitate this kind of conducting of universal energy. Can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, before that I would like to talk on little on other subjects so that all the people they can understand that what I'm doing here, I'm demonstrating first of all the presence of the existence of the creator, the God or universal intelligence on this planet within the arena of science. I'm doing that job first of all. Yeah. And second part, like I'm little different from other leaders. I feel that if I can channel that energy which has the ability to create something new, create new plants and trees, create new type of bacteria and viruses, create new types of metals and ceramics, create a different type of atomic structure, right? So if being a human, if I can do this job, I think other humans, they can also do this job. It's my understanding.
Yes.
I disagree that yes, I'm the only one who can does this job, but definitely the people who wants to do this job, who wants to contribute something very big to the world, you have to keep the patience. There is nothing like people they say, is there any jumbo energy transmission? Everything takes its own time. There's no jumbo sex by which you can produce a child within 9 days, right? You do any amount of jumbo sex, it will take 9 months to
no matter what.
Americans, they believe in jumbo every time.
Jumbo. It's like a Big Mac.
So there's nothing like jumbo. It will take its own time, your own transformation. It takes your own time. You have to keep the patience for a very big thing, right? If you study every day, you are in the kindergarten. Oh, if I study every day, can I get PhD tomorrow? Nothing possible, right? It will take its own time. High school 12 years, then bachelor's degree 4 years, then master's degree 2 to 3 years, then PhD, right?
Yes,
there's nothing like jumbo, right?
Right. You can't jump the steps.
Yeah.
You must go in the natural order of things. But when you are working with the plant kingdom, are you or are you not accelerating? I know you're helping to facilitate larger growth, more nutritional growth of the various fruits, but are you also accelerating the time, as in shortening the time that it takes to grow?
Yeah, no, we are not shortening the time, but definitely the results we have received, like the plants and trees who are giving the fruits, who are giving the vegetables, their cycle is extended. Like something like you can take the crop like chili, suppose, right? Chili generally it is giving the fruit for 60 days. In our case, that is giving for 75 days, right? And other things like the corn and wheat and soybean, that kind of crop, for its maturity, if it needs 90 days for other people, in our case, you can harvest within 80 days. But it's not 8 days, right?
Yes.
It needs 80 days, right?
Yeah.
So that is happening. But we have done one big experiment which is beyond the understanding and imagination of any Nobel Prize winner scientist on this planet. When we did the energy transmission on bacteria, and the bacteria, they change their species. And it happens during the evolution. And evolution, it comes after like 500,000 years, 1 million years. We were able to do within few weeks. So definitely we have the ability to speed up certain things. Like we are today in New York. If you want to go from New York to Los Angeles, right, 100 years back, it needs at least 6 months, right, to reach over there. You may reach, you may die in between. But now with the help of airplane, you just enter in the airplane, within 5 hours you will be there. Speeding the time. 5 months is equivalent to just 5 hours, right? So similarly, the evolution, whatever the data we are getting during evolution, then one bacteria changing its species, right? And that is happening in 100,000 years, 250,000 years.
Richard, please, I can't hear.
That we can get, that kind of data we can get within a period of 2 weeks, 4 weeks, speeding the time.
Oh my gosh. I just am so grateful for the work that you're doing with the interface of spiritual awareness, consciousness, the sense of divine intelligence, and science. These two were divorced many, many moons ago, and they're coming back into alignment, and you are helping to bring forth that alignment, which will give birth to a new level of science. And I think it's really the way we need to go on this planet, and I just want to thank you for your good work and contribution to making that happen.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Rabin.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much, Deborah. Deborah is our founder, president of our foundation, Trivedi Foundation, and she is a very inspiring lady, especially for me. She is my English teacher. She's teaching the culture in this country. When I came to America, my English was very poor. Still it is poor, but much better, right? And
Well,
so really I'm very grateful for Deborah and her husband, Mr. Fred, right? And both husband and wife, really they are dedicating their lives since last 40 years to contribute something very big to help the humanity.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And Mr. Trivedi, I just wanted to add something that I wanted.
We have only 10 seconds left, Deborah.
Oh, okay. I
Yes.
just wanted to say that these energy transmissions, you don't have to be with him. They could be done across the world just as effectively.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much, Deborah, for your input today and for your good work in helping to advance the work of the Trivedi Foundation.
Thank you.
Surely. Your website is www.trivedifoundation.org. TRIVEDI Foundation.org. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll have you back as these experiments advance. This is Mitchell J. Rabin for A Better World. Thanks so much for joining us. Visit us at our website at www.abetterworld.net. We will be linking to the Trivedi Foundation so you can get as much information as you need from there as well. Again, thanks so much. Tune in tomorrow night for Berry Cap on essential oils. I think you'll enjoy it, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Stay tuned for Gary Null.